Hello, everyone. Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner, and I am really, really not well. Everybody's like, "Oh, we already know that. You're whacked out. You're doing a show about the paranormal." No. I mean, like, I'm ill, and I don't mean it in like, yo, it's time to get ill in a hip hop fun kind of way. I mean, like, I'm not well. Like, I'm sick. It sucks, believe me. And they had a prescription that got sent to the pharmacy, and they were like, "Oh, take this one." And then I read about it, and it's like, "Oh, your heart will race, your head will explode, and your lungs will come out." And I'm like, "Oh, is that all?" I'll take it. And then my wife's like, "Psh, get that out of your mouth. You're not taking that." Okay, sorry. And then I had to get another prescription. So then it was 2 days later, and my doctor got back in the office. He's pretty good about it, and he went and got it done. But he was off for a couple days, and he actually did it on his day off, actually, so I should say that. But what do we got going on tonight? What do we have going on? Dogman, right?
We have a special guest. We have great stories about Dogman. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, you're so excited. You got your musical instruments there? What are the Moroccan?
I'm waiting for the cameras so they could see this beautiful
Anthony had to go out to
unity.
the room and check to see if we were doing everything right.
Yeah, but I had it all ready and everything, and Anthony let me down. Look at this. Look at this unity.
It's actually the same color as your shirt.
I know, that's why I chose it. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, I don't know if people like the colors, folks, but pull it down, show them what you got. Show them what you're working with. There we go.
I love the colors. I think the blue and silver looks really good.
That looks good. It's a really pretty color. It looks better on me. You can pan back to me if you want. People want to get a look at a better looking guy.
I think they would just prefer it if they just chose a black screen.
Yeah, well, that's your opinion. So what we got is tonight we have a guy coming on the show whose name sounds very similar to a goofball guy from Hollywood, but this isn't him. This is a cool guy from not from Hollywood, but he's got a very unique name, and he's going to come on and he's going to talk about some Dogman encounters he's had. He's had some crazy stuff. He got good stuff to talk about. So we're going to be hitting that tonight. Speaking of hitting things, I don't know what's going on, but literally woke up today and like 3 of my friends from Facebook and 3 or maybe 4 of my friends in my everyday life were all drunk last night. It was like everybody just decided to tie one on and be hungover today. I mean, I saw it all over Facebook. I told you.
I mean, it felt like all over Austin, really. Even the traffic wasn't as bad.
Today's St. Patrick's Day, though. Everybody did it yesterday.
Like what is crazy?
Isn't today the day?
Yeah, I mean,
walk around throwing up.
It's supposed to be all weekend. I mean, can't believe people are already done on Thursday.
I was shocked by that. I woke up and then one of our moderators, not Scorpion or D, but somebody else who our main name was, he was like, "I got so drunk." And then there was one of our female listeners, and she was like announcing on how hungover she was. And I'm like, what the heck? I didn't even let these people drink. I'm not judging you. But, I mean, if you want to go to hell, that's your choice. I can't stop you.
We can't stop you from being a bad person.
Do what you got to do, man. I don't think it's going to condemn you.
Today is the day you're supposed to honor a man sanctified and
correct
and sitting with the Lord by getting drunk.
Because
that makes perfect sense.
He helped preach to the Irish. He used the 3-leaf clover, which is, they say the 4-leaf clover is lucky because it's rare, but he used the 3-leaf clover to teach. That was Saint Patrick, to teach about the Trinity, and he taught the people of Ireland. And then supposedly he drove out all the snakes.
I remember you saying that he also preached sobriety. So what a better way to
he was no. There were some controversial things about him, but some people say that he was okay with jovial partying, whatever. Those are people making stuff up so they can feel good about imbibing, and that's fine. You don't need to do that. I don't care. Don't proselytize to me about your sin. I don't care. You do what you got to do. I don't judge people. It's between you and God. I just have never in my life, with all of the different things I've seen downtown, when I work downtown, and downtown, I've seen some crazy stuff. It's haunted. Everything is haunted downtown. Everything. We got little monitos duendes, whatever, that run around and do stuff, and we have all kinds of hauntings and weird stuff. And some of the most crazy things I've ever seen were on St. Patrick's Day and during the day, because it usually falls on South by Southwest, and so you'd be down there during the day, like on St. Patrick's Day, and during the week, whenever you're down there, because it's South by Southwest and spring break, because it's everybody's spring breaks like in March, so there's like 1, 2, 3 weeks of spring break. So everybody comes to Austin, they party, and these people, they're like vomiting green beer in the street. And I'm not joking. And then one day I saw a place that doesn't exist anymore. It's called Copper Tank. Because Squid used to be the manager. You need something? You're looming over me, sir. So
He just does that.
he does. It's creepy. Dude's like Lurch, dude. Well, you're just weird. You're just creepy. You got the long salad fingers. You know, he's got the weird.
Kind of a squirrel.
Look at this guy. Look at his finger. Look at his finger. Elliot.
See how easy it
Look at
is to
this,
distract this
this
person?
guy.
I think you're just really
so
distracting
angry.
looking.
Oh, he gets mad. He's so mad.
Your mind is so easy.
We can tease him so easy. Anyway, these people,
Shiny.
these people, this is one of them right here. They're so weak-willed and weak-minded that they have to get up at 1 p.m. to go get started drinking, and then they don't even make it to the nighttime. And then by late afternoon, they're throwing up in the street. You see it. I mean, that's of Halloween, New Year's Eve, South by Southwest, the Pecan Street Festival. You got all these different things that happen. The Rot Rally, which is the motorcycle rally, you know, they can have, and then the NASCAR. What is it called? The Formula One comes here. You have all these things that happen here in Austin. Okay, the Texas relays, they have a big deal. You have the Texas games, you know,
ACL. Did you see that already?
ACL. What is it called? Austin City Limits.
Yeah.
But the worst I see people get drunk. The worst was on St. Patrick's Day. It beat Cinco de Mayo and I would say Mardi Gras rolled into one. And these people get smashed drunk. Most of these people aren't even a lick of Irish in them, but they choose to take that opportunity just to go get smashed because the bars are like, hey, we got green beer and it's cheap. And
It's
come and drink green dye
green.
mixed with booze and see if you can puke.
Green everything, really, honestly. It's just everybody's green. There's green stuff everywhere. People are throwing up green beer. They're also just throwing up, so it's green. So it's just...
Yeah, this guy asked me if he said I wasn't wearing green, and he was like, what would you do if I pinched you? He's like joking around. So I was like, I'll break your nose. And then he started laughing, and I was like, I'm just kidding. Go ahead and pinch him. And I pointed at Tony. I was like, you can pinch him all you want. I don't
And
care.
I ran away with, and nice little dance.
You were
to give
scared.
him a
You were
chase.
terrified, yeah. He was probably about $150 though, so yeah, I weighed you by about 100 pounds. You were scared. So, folks, thank you for that
170.
donation. Donations are not expected, but they are appreciated. Here lately, I've been accused of pandering and asking for money. So we better stop. I had a guy write a comment, big old horrible thing about how, here's the thing, folks, too. I want to explain something to you. I don't care what people say. They're like, oh, you're letting it get to you. I just like to troll trolls. That's one thing I need to clarify with my audience is that it's fun. I shouldn't give them energy and attention, but I love to talk trash to these people because it makes them so mad. You saw how Anthony got so mad right now, right? And started lashing out at me. That's what these
feed
people
on that.
do.
We
we're
enjoy
just
it.
like, come on, go ahead and talk trash. We don't care.
Well, here's the thing, too, that really makes me mad about that is that we work so hard and put so much time and effort to scam you guys, and then they just come up and they ruin the whole thing and bring it into
I'm
light.
telling y'all our plan.
And it makes us feel like we put so much effort here for what, And it's just not fair to us.
guy? Yeah, it's not fair. What about the guy who said we only put 4 hours a week into the show?
Yeah.
Does he have any idea though? Honestly, how long it takes to do? Like, oh my god.
First off, 4 hours is not like a short amount of time. It's
4 hours a week to work is nothing.
it's not a lot, obviously, but when you take out 4 hours of your day where you have to do a lot of stuff already, it does eat up a bit. And it's not like...
Well, this guy was no. This guy was saying that we only put 4 hours of work
yeah,
a week.
at the very minimum, even if
no
that was
idea.
the case,
He has
even if
no
it was the
idea.
case, that's still some work that we'd have
That's
to
how
put in.
much you put into the show, not me. Tony, you put in about 4 hours. Anthony probably puts 5. Honestly,
I put, I think 3.9 last time I checked.
sure, okay, but I put.
See, that's the good thing about being next to Tony is that it doesn't take much to be an overachiever by comparison.
Well, I mean, someone's got to set the bar, right?
Oh my god, very very low.
Yeah, and I'm grateful to you for setting it so low, so
low.
that I can feel better about myself.
Yeah.
You're
And
one of those-
it's great for me because, I don't have to really
Enough
look up
talk
that
about
high.
all this. We know you're both underachieving suckers. Okay, y'all are terrible. Look, bottom line is, I'm not, folks. You're here to watch me, and this guy goes, "How can people watch this guy?" He said something about I astral project. Once again, putting words in my mouth. I didn't come on here last week and go, I astral project. Blah, blah, blah. What are these people seeing? I don't know what they're not paying attention, obviously, to the show. Okay, that's not what happened last week. It's just not. No, this is so silly. But here, let me get this going here. Chia seeds in my teeth. Anybody eat chia seeds? They really add a lot to like soups and things, but they sure can't get in your teeth.
They're really good.
No, they're good, but they get in your teeth, like I said. So we need to talk real quick about the Patreon. Let me explain to everybody. Also, the conference changes. Conference was we had it planned. We had it set. Me and Ken had got it. Ken Gerhardt and Ken was going to come on the show tonight, but even though he's doing the conference in Cibola, he was going to take time out tonight to come on the show, but it doesn't need to now because at the last minute the conference people said, "Oh, there's another paranormal conference that happens like a month later, and we don't want people to get confused or some crap." We had the money ready to go to pay them to get the thing set up and everything, and they pulled that. So I told Ken, forget it. We just won't use them. We're gonna use somebody else. So we're gonna go somewhere else. And we're not gonna go south of Fort Worth. That would have been perfect, but they want to be that way and make us wait and whatever. I don't need to wait. You got another conference. Have fun with them. Let's see how many people they put in your building. Let's see how many people they do. Thank you, Granbury, for nothing. So anyway, conference changes. Okay, Patreon. Okay, so I had a few people paying for a year and paying like $36. Just to clarify, okay, that does not qualify you to get a swag bag. Swag bag is $10 for 3 months or $20 per month if you sign up for either of those. That will get you a swag bag. $36 being paid all at once for a year is actually $3. That's $3. Like that's $3 tier. I'm not telling you not to. That's great. We appreciate any and everything you give us, but that doesn't get you a swag bag unless you're picked on the show to win something. And I try to give people as much as I can. Now, that being said, I did have some people week before last were kind of pushy. Not the people that won. Nobody that won or got sent anything. But I had one person hit me up out of the blue, and he said, "Hey, can I get a hoodie?" I already told you about this. And I said, "Yeah, that's fine." I mean, he just asked out of the blue. And he says, "Well, I like Ohio State. Can I get something in red and silver?" I'm like, "You hit me up out of the blue. You want a very specific size, and I'm okay with that. But then you start telling me about the color. I said, well, let me look and see what I got. And then I said, I have nothing red and silver. I have nothing that's red and silver like this. Like this is blue. Like this is this light blue with the silver. Like the royal. Is this royal blue? It was supposed to be royal blue. I think this is royal blue. Is it royal blue?
As far as I know.
Maybe it's royal. I don't know. But anyway, I said, I don't have anything. I got blue and silver. And he's like, ew, yuck. I said, well, I got black and silver. He goes, ew. At this point, sir, I'm not going to say your name, so I'm not putting you on blast because I'm good about keeping people's anonymity. You know that. But shame on you. And then I said, I'm not going to send you anything. And this guy got mad and gave me the finger emoji thing, whatever. And I said, okay, good. You're not going to listen to my show anymore? Fine. But you asked me for something free, and then when I tell you, I go to my way to try to help you, and then you start making demands, and then you give me the finger. And then you sent me a thing smarting off to me, saying a bad word to me. Come on, man. I mean, you can do better than that. Let's not do this to each other. You know what I mean? If you don't like the color, then just decline it and say, you know what? I'll wait until you get some in stock. So, be kind about it. But to pressure and ask me and then give me the finger, like, dude, you ruined my whole week. I dwelled on it. I was so sad.
Oh, God, now you got this crybaby going. Thanks a lot, guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and Anthony have been having to deal with this for a week.
He just cries. So. If they take away my what's it called? The Nintendo Switch controller, I do the same thing. I cry.
Yeah.
I freak out. I break stuff.
We can't even wear red around the house because he sees it and he turns away.
I turn away and yeah.
In horror, he goes,
and I begin to weep. But people are like, oh, don't let them ruin your whole week. Like, who is saying that? When have I ever said that? I just like to talk trash to these people. I don't know. That guy though, that was a new low. Like, come on, dude. I'm sitting there trying to give you something for free because it don't look like Ohio State coach. Come on, man. Shame on you, man. You shouldn't do that. You need to be a better person than that. And I'm not being smart or crass. You need to be better than that. I mean, you can't go to somebody and ask them for free and then start talking trash them when they can't provide it. That's not right. No matter who they are.
Yeah.
You can go to Walmart and be like, do you have this color? And they're like, dude, it's Walmart. Okay. Whatever Chinese crap we have over there. Go rummage through it, you know. No, I want this color right now, sir. It's milk. I can't make it red. You know what I mean? Like, come on. It's over. These people are just nuts.
Going to the Nike store. Do you have Adidas? I want Adidas.
Sometimes you go into the Walmart, dude, and they'll have like dust on stuff that like they haven't moved it in forever, and they don't lower the price. It just stays there rotting. Like if it was in my house, y'all would have jacked it and been like, "Oh, it's been there for 4 hours. He's never going to use this. Let's just take it."
Well, there's a perfectly reasonable amount of time.
Exactly.
To get someone to pick it up.
But y'all take things that are valuable, like Zane, especially like what are you doing with that sword? It's a $14,000 sword, and you just left it sitting on the wall for 10 years, and you never use it on anyone, so I decided to take it. It looks better next to my aquarium. Okay, dude.
Well, you weren't using the Toyota.
Yeah, you weren't using it.
So I decided.
I got those from Japan, from Kyoto. I don't care. It's mine. I'm going to use it. Okay, and then you got to tell them, look, dude, do you like having ribs that work? You know? Okay. Folks, here's the story. I'm going to give you the story. We got everything out we had to say. We got everything done. I'm going to give you a quick story before I bring the guest on. Now, this one's crazy. Now, we're going to do a show that's going to come on next Tuesday. Y'all know that, right? It's going to be an episode that's going to be dropped. It's going to be the 1 hour episode, and it's going to be about something really scary. Couple different things that we haven't decided yet. We're going to record tonight after the show if my voice allows it. What we're going to talk about is really creepy. But here is a piece of two different places, though. This isn't the same place, but here is something along the lines of what we're going to talk about. There's a woman who sent me a story from Missouri. They had a house, and it was on the edge of the Ozarks. Very creepy story. When they moved there, they moved here from Central Texas to live out there because her husband, stationed in the military, he was in Killeen at the military base, army base. So he got out of the army. They moved back to Missouri, and it was about 48. I think she said 48 miles from where he was from. And but he's still in the military, but he's not. He's doing like the weekend thing or whatever. So they moved to Missouri, and she said that immediately upon moving into this house, she didn't want to take the house because it had some weird stuff going on, weird energy. She said when they were doing, the realtor was taking her around the house, the lights were like, you know how the lights, like when a bulb is going out, it'll do that kind of back and forth thing? Mm-hmm. Like it'll kind of come on and off, like it's flickering, yeah. Couldn't grasp the word there. Honey, guys, let me tell you guys, head cold, I need like some serious like honey and lemon going on here. But so I'm over here talking to this person, but while I'm talking to this person, the light where I was at in the study, like kind of flicked. I was like, whoa, that was weird. It was a weird coincidence. It was like right after she had said that. So anyway, I'm talking to this person and she's telling me about this weird experience. And she started telling me about some weird stuff that happened to her family that while she was in there. Now, here's one of the things that happened. Her little boys, she had 2 little boys, they were talking about seeing a red-eyed creature sitting in a tree outside of their room. They share a bedroom. She has 2 girls. They each have their own bedroom. They're older. And then she has 2 little boys that are basically Irish twins. That means that they were born like a year apart. Okay? And now, you know, of course, today being St. Patrick's Day, happy St. Patrick's Day. You know, St. Patrick hadn't been around since 461, but he left an indelible fingerprint on the country of Ireland. So happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. So anyways, they're basically Irish twins, and they were in their room, and they were looking out the window, and they were in the middle of playing a video game. And it takes a lot to make a kid be distracted from a really good video game. And she hears them yell. So she runs upstairs, and they're sitting on the tree. It's nothing. She's like, y'all are just, she didn't say y'all, but she said, you all are just aggravating me. And you're over here seeing things, and it's getting aggravating because one of them had cried and said that they saw something looking at them in the window from a different spot in the bathroom. And whatever this thing was, it was climbing up into trees and like moving around, you know. And so she was getting frustrated because they kept seeing this thing, whatever it was, and she's like, you know, she had a talk with the dad. She said, I think they're making stuff up. They're having their imaginations. They're watching scary movies or something on their iPad or whatever it was. So when I was a kid, you didn't have nothing like that. It was like if The Howling came on and your mom didn't want you watching it, you didn't watch it because the only way to watch it would be sitting right next to her. And I'll never forget when that show actually came on. My parents were out there watching it. My bedroom, I could like see the light from the TV from my bedroom, and then I snuck out there and was like watching it from the side, you know, in the hallway. And my dad saw me, and it was summertime, so my dad was like, "Come on, you can watch it." So he let me watch it. Scared the crap out of me. My mom was like, "I told you not to let him watch it." But I never like gave it a second thought until I was 15. You know, the crazy thing though was that these boys kept reporting stuff until not the oldest sister. Now the other one wasn't that old; she was about 12, but she reported something too. The little boys were 7 and 8, so you can figure their imaginations could be, you know,
a little rampant.
Yeah, they could go crazy. So maybe that's what was going on. But the sister said, she's like, "Mom, I saw something when we were coming home on the roof, and it was black and it had red eyes, and it wasn't really very big." She said it was like the size of a child. So one day when she's coming out of the laundry room, she's like, I walk out the laundry room, and then immediately there's a hallway right there. So I go to the left, go down the hallway. At the end of the hallway, they have one of these windows. You know how? Okay, so I figured this is just like our house, but like a lot bigger. You know how our house we have the big window above the door? Okay. She described the window above the door where you could see into the second floor, and I'm like, yeah, that's how our house is. You can see it's the same. It's built that same way, except hers. The dimensions of it are much bigger than our house, and so I was like, oh, okay, you got a big old house, and it's a really nice place, not far from the lake, whatever, and they got a really good deal on it. Well, sometimes deals are too good to be true. There's a reason for that. Hold on one second, folks. Really quickly here, let me do this so I can tell this person. And so she looked out the window because she heard a weird noise that sounded like, hey, and I could do it if I wasn't sick. I'm not joking. I could probably recreate it, but I can't do it while I'm sick. And it was like this guttural noise that came out of the throat of somebody, like that. And it was like kind of really fast. And she said it almost sounds kind of like how alligators sound, you know. And so she says she looks out up there out the window, and up in the tree, and she said she saw the leg, like one of its legs was moving. It was a humanoid, or inhumanoid, as Barton would say. And she said it was moving its leg back and forth. And she looked up, and there were red eyes. And she said she saw like a hand going up to the mouth, like it was eating something. And she was like, "Oh my gosh!" So she said that it was a little inhumanoid basically eating something. So she drops the laundry. She runs and she tells her, she's like, Jeff, that's her husband. So they go back out. He comes out and he's like, "What's going on?" You know. And he's aggravated, you know, he's watching the Chiefs, you know, whatever. She's like, he's watching football, he's mad, you know, whatever. He's like, what? You know, what's going on? She said, there is something out there in the trees. So he goes outside. Now, he'd been hearing this crap for like 6 weeks. He was getting tired of it. He comes back in. She said all the blood was drained from his face. Like he was white as a ghost. And he said, I'm about to have a heart attack. And she's like, oh my God, what's going on? You know, he's like, I just saw something standing by the trash cans. And she's like, what was it? And he goes, I don't know. A goblin. So they compared notes. Very weird. Exact same thing. When they talked to one of the little boys, he was the one, the older one, was the one who actually saw this thing. Not in the house, but in the backyard. And the dog was barking. Him and his brother had come home from school, and they had a babysitter. And she was very inattentive, obviously, according to the parents. She was over there talking to her boyfriend, blah, 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 you know. And they went outside to let the dog play with the dog, whatever. And they were playing with it, and the other dog, he had 2 dogs. The other one kept barking, wouldn't stop barking. They had a fence. They look over, and they see this thing climbing up on the fence, like literally, like it was weird. It was like they described to their parents like it was not like you walk outside, you would have immediately seen that. But they said they were out there for 30 minutes, didn't see it until the dog just kept barking. And then the one child looked and he saw it straight on. The other kid said it just looked like a blur going over the fence. And he said it looked like a goblin, the way he described it. Fat nose, but like big and kind of hooked, like it was kind of hanging down. Floppy looking ears, had a little red hat on, like a cap. And when it turned and it looked and its eyes were red, but he said that they weren't glowing because it was daytime. Now, I don't know what kind of creature that is. I don't know. Some would say like a darrow, or it could be, you could call it a duende if you're in Spanish. I don't know, man. But I would have been like, no more afuera. Like, ahora, I would have been inside, like real quick, like right now, inside that house. Not going to play around with duendes or monitos. I don't mess with those things.
I call myself an Uber, I guess, and get away.
And so they ran back inside.
Yeah,
well, the little brother, the youngest, he's kind of, according to his mom, he's very aggressive. So he has his BB gun cocked and ready, and he's got a slingshot, and he's going to attack this thing. And she's like, no, don't mess with it, whatever it is. So there's more to that story, and I will come back to that eventually, and we'll talk about some stuff because it gets weirder. It goes into some Dogman stuff. So it makes you wonder what's really going on with that situation there. But we are going to talk about that on Tuesday. We're going to so tune in on Tuesday, and we'll give you some more to that. That's going to tie into another story. And we're going to talk about evil little gnomes, whatever, because that's the only way I can describe them, with little red hats. What they are, I don't know. Everybody's got a different name for them. Goblin, elf. I don't know. No.
I call him Steve.
Well, I had a hat named Steve.
A hat?
Yeah. Why not? I did a review on Amazon. Go look it up. Literally, you can go look it up. Go look up Josh Turner reviews on Amazon. I got one, Happy Fun Toy, Super Toy #1. It was just this dumb thing I bought. And this guy's like, you're just doing that so you can get people to buy your product. And I'm like, no, I was actually excited about the game. It was a video game. It was like a stupid little game or something. And this guy actually thought I was trying to.
Hey, man, I was actually a fan. Don't ruin this.
Yeah. But I like to get people going, like to talk trash. But anyways, folks, that all that's just good fun. I just like to talk trash. I don't really care. Like half the time people think I'm getting wound up, whatever. I'm really not. Sometimes, but usually just like to mess with people because they mess with me, so I'm going to mess back. All right, so let me get on here and get this guy going. Somebody said, dang, I wanted to hear more. Who was that?
I just saw it.
Let me get these glasses on so I can look like a big old nerd.
Josie Jackson.
Somebody was even sending me a message making fun of my glasses, talking about how dumb I looked and what they said about you. They said some really bad stuff about Tony.
Call me a great guy.
Oh, yeah. They
jealous.
But the funny thing is, though, we just laugh. We're just like, we're working out. I mean, I haven't been able to work out in like a week because I've been sick, but it was we were at the gym, and we were just laughing about it. I was in there reading it, and I was like, dude.
I was actually pretty excited.
I actually had the idea to read a couple of the negative comments on the air so we could laugh about it. But then Nelly was like, no. Or was it Nelly or you, Anthony? Y'all said, no, don't give him any attention or something.
One of these killjoys. I mean, I don't know.
One of these killjoys. One of the people that makes me, if it's up to me and you, Tony, we'd be in trouble about a lot of stuff.
We wouldn't make it past we'd already the 7th episode.
They done dropped us, man. But, because Armando was always like, y'all guys are going to get us in trouble. I'm like, yeah. And then Anthony would have to edit out a bunch of stuff, because we're talking a bunch of crap to people. But, I mean, that's just us having fun. Anthony kind of keeps us in line, and Nelly tries to give us good advice. We take it most of the time. Not always. But if it was up to me and Tony, we'd be in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's get this started here. You want to do the honors? Get on there. There it is right there. First one.
This one?
Yepper.
I guess while we're waiting, I could talk about the mail loss. We got everybody from last week. I think we sent them all off, right? Mm-hmm. That's good.
Even Cadillac, we didn't have his name.
Yeah, Cadillac, you didn't send us your name, man.
Yeah, but we just sent it in care of Chad Ilac.
So, Mr. Ilac?
And Mr. Ilac. Hello? Is it ringing?
What's up?
Hey, I can barely hear you.
Yeah.
Let me see if I don't know if the audience
Can you
can
hear
hear you or not. Yeah, well, that came through a little bit.
That's provoking with this.
Go ahead.
This kind of signal is not too good.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about going through StreamYard, and it's the same thing. You're going to have to go through the internet. So if we're doing through Facebook Messenger, it's the internet too. So
I think it sounds a little bit better.
that sounds all right. It just depends on your connection. Do you have a good Wi-Fi connection?
No.
No. So, folks, this is
No, I live out
Steven in the boonies, right?
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, folks. This is Steven Seagal, not Seagal, not that goofy fat guy that thinks he knows karate. This is a cool guy. This is Steven Seagal. So, Steven, you want to say hi to the audience?
Hey, how you guys doing out there in chat? On YouTube, my name is also Darkwood. Just to let you know.
Darkwoods, yeah. Now, here's the thing, Steven, you've had a lot of encounters, a lot of crazy things happen to you. And so we wanted you to come on tonight and talk about that. So I'm going to let you take the floor, whatever you want to start and however you want to start it.
All right. Well, I live up here in northern Wisconsin, real close to UP in Michigan. And I live in a national forest. I got woods 360 pressed up against the house. Massive marsh. There's like forest islands and marshlands behind us. A lot of acreage there. You guys still there? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
My screen blacked out. Anyway, so I moved up here in 2019 and I started getting encounter experiences in 2020. So I had a lot of experiences that occurred in a short period of time. And where we live, right next to the house, a couple 100 yards over, there's a logging road that goes back deeper into the woods. And it's about a 15-minute walk to the river. And that's where they logged a small section of woods out. And because I'm a hunter, I go back there and I check for tracks and see how the game action and stuff is. It's a lot better in a cleared area there because we got a lot of sand and pine needles and stuff up here. And so I do that on a routine basis. I know all the woods back there, like the back of my hand, no problem. And so my first encounter with the Dogman was just going back there. I didn't even have cryptids on my mind or anything. I was eager to see what kind of deer tracks I could find. And I went through the woods for about 5 minutes, and then I get to a clearing part where they logged that small section out. And this was in the spring in April. And black bear up here, they're pretty big. And the biggest caution I had was making sure there wasn't a mom with the cubs around. So I would walk a little bit, stop and scan and look, and then walk a little bit and scan, do that all the way back. And as soon as I got into the clearing where I wanted to check for tracks, the most unusual thing happened to me. And it's really hard to describe, but a lot of people call it mind speak. But whatever it was, there is something that intruded into my mind and said to the effect that something was right over here. And it was like a compass telling me it was off to my left, straight up ahead. And as soon as that thought came into my mind, I kind of laughed it off and said, yeah, right. And then it came really strong again. And so now you can imagine that took me back. I was pretty blown away and I started taking this real serious. So my awareness went up and I looked over that way, and in the tree line, I could see kind of a dark image. And once again, I didn't think about cryptids. I was thinking, well, maybe my sixth sense was picking up a bear over there because there was something black behind some trees. So instead of just walking straight up to it to figure out what it was, I started walking into the opening and I pretend like I didn't see it. And I would walk around, I'd look around, I'd bend over, pick stuff up. And while I'm doing this, I'm working my way closer towards that area, and it's off to my left. And eventually I get up as close as I dare to get where I felt comfortable enough. If I had to make an escape, I probably could. And I would say whatever I was seeing was probably about 40 to 50 feet away from me now. And the one thing I give myself credit for was when I was doing this, I was looking at the tree structures and landmarks in that area where this thing was. And I tried to make a mental reference on a landmark structure so that I could come back the next day and check the tracks because I didn't know how this was going to go. But I got up to where I saw some trees that were paralleled in a straight manner, and I decided this is where it is. And this whole time I kept whatever that was in my left peripheral view. I didn't, for some reason, I didn't want to look straight at it, and I'm glad I didn't. But I did look at it enough to where I could see the shapes and I could see something is black, and I thought it was a bear crouched down behind a tree. And you know how it is too. Let's say you did see a dogman or something like that. I never thought my brain would try to deny that and rationalize it was a bear. But I feel that's what was going on during this time. But either way, what I ended up doing was I wanted to take a photo of this because I wasn't really too sure what was going on, and I really didn't want to put myself in position. And I didn't take the cell phone that I had and stick it up to my face to take a photo, you know. I kind of just pulled it out and put it up against my chest and aimed it off to my left. And I was lucky enough to shoot off a square picture. So then after I did that, you know, nothing was going on, nothing moved. And I ended up going back out of that area in a nonchalant manner again, just like I never knew they were there, and made it back to the house. So when I got to the house, I downloaded the photo and looked at it on the computer, and I couldn't believe my eyes that there was a dog man sitting behind a tree. And later on, I'll tell you, it was definitely a female dog man. I'll tell you why later on, but she was crouched down and she was about 4.5 feet tall. And you could see the type of dog man she was slender, built like a basketball player, you know, athletic looking, and jet black skin and or fur, I mean. And in the photo, she's crouched down, and you could see one of her knees is bent out on the side of the tree, and on the other side of the tree, there's a bunch of trees around her, but there's a small birch tree. You could see her hand. There's fingers and claws that are holding the backside of that tree. So I was totally blown away when I seen that. And the one thing that I want to mention, because this is a unique encounter, I've heard a lot of encounters ever since I had cryptid experiences. I did a lot of armchair researching because I don't consider myself a researcher. I'm just here doing my thing, and they end up being here, and I end up seeing things and witnessing stuff and getting some pretty good evidence at the same time. But when I went back there and all that stuff happened, there is not a single shred of fear or terror or doom. There was no aggression. What was strange was that dogman never moved. It was kind of like a statue, and you can tell when you see it in the photo that I have. And later on, when I had that photo up on the internet, some lady who's very knowledgeable about stuff like that noticed that there was a baby dogman in the picture. And I didn't even notice that because I was focused with the big one, and this is where I gather that she's a female. Plus, for some weird reason, I sensed that she was a female as well. But when I kept looking at the photo, I ended up finding a lot more things. There was also another big male Dogman that was in the trees back behind the little one. The little Dogman was up in a tree about 4.5 feet tall, and its head's peeking around the corner, and you could see its eyeballs and everything. And that was the only one that was looking straight at me. And in the photo, it was the only one where I could see its eyes. The female Dogman, for some reason, had a small branch going across her eyes. The big male Dogman that was built like Schwarzenegger, just massively ripped. His face was hidden behind a tree, and behind that Dogman was a big Sasquatch. And he was ducking his head turning during the time the photo snapped. So this is really awesome because I have a photographic evidence of Bigfoot being together with Dogmen in a group. And it's strange that I walked out there and that mind speak, whatever thing occurred. None of them were aggressive. I didn't even see the other ones. And like I said, I was probably focused on the one that I could see. But I wondered what the heck was that about? Was I supposed to get some type of first contact with them? Were they going to try to communicate with me? Or was it a trap? You know? I mean, it's just that left me with so many questions. I just don't understand why that all occurred. I kind of chalk it up as they were there testing me out to see how I'd react. And hopefully, because one of my goals now is to actually see if I could actually get communication with them.
So you've had multiple encounters, right? And this was the first one you had?
Yeah, this is the first one. Other encounters occurred, but I didn't know that they occurred until luckily I had a phone and was doing pictures and realized that that was there. And sometimes I wonder too if I actually could see them, because it appears through some other people and things that camera will see some of these cryptids more so than your eyes will, you know, because of the quality of the camera.
Yeah.
But one day I was cruising out back to the river, and the ferns up here get really big, and I went through a grove of ferns that were like 4 feet tall. So I turned around and I ducked down and I took a photo of it for, you know, nature photo or whatever. And then I headed down to the river and I went back home, and I was looking at the photo. And when I looked at the photo, I saw something weird where the trail comes out into the groves that I just came from. And when I zoomed in on it, you could see the top half of a head and two ears, pointed ears, like canine ears, and one eye socket. And then the rest of the photo, you could see a blurred image of a humanoid. So what was going on is I could tell that's a Dogman, and it was following me down the trail. And when I crossed the grove, it just started to enter the fern grove. That's when I turned around and took a photo. And it's about 95% cloaked, but you could see the top half of its head just floating in the air in front of the woods. And where it cloaked, you could see how it mimicked the leaf canopies and everything that was behind it. But there was a definite outline of the body there. So very interesting stuff.
Wow. And when you, okay, so the first encounter you had, let's go back to that. That one involved a Dogman and a Bigfoot?
Yeah, one female Dogman, a baby Dogman, a male Dogman, and I don't know if it's a male or female Sasquatch, but it was huge.
And you could tell the difference between, you've never seen them before?
Oh no, I'd never seen them before.
Yeah, but you knew that one was a Dogman and one was a Bigfoot. Like you could absolutely tell?
Yeah, you can see from the photos. You can definitely tell because the Bigfoot's got a conical head.
Yeah, and the Bigfoot doesn't have a snout or anything?
No, no.
What is your theory that why they would be in the same photo together?
I think that they are cryptids, both of them. Nobody knows their true origin, I guess. You know, we got a lot of speculation on that. some people believe they're all flesh and blood. Other people believe they have supernatural abilities, maybe spiritual or flesh at the same time. You know, they could go through portals, all this different stuff. But all those commonalities, I couldn't see why they wouldn't be social together. I've even heard where Sasquatch had made deals with Dogman to be like security or whatever for their clans and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really know the reason why, but I definitely have this in a photograph, and I know other people had seen the same thing. But, you know, this whole encounter totally goes down deep into a rabbit hole now, because I told you how all that stuff was. When I looked at that photo and we started seeing the other cryptids that were in there, there was something unusual that I noticed, and I did a show on this with Impromptu Truth with Truth and Bass, and they seen, yeah, they're good guys, but they seen faces and images all over the trees. And when I started looking, there's like 36 different crazy faces in that photo, and there's like theater mask looking faces that are on the ground that look demonic and torment and stuff. It's just crazy stuff, like tree stumps that have actual, like someone took a ton of time to carve an actual face in it with a nose coming out and everything. It's just real bizarre. And then the other thing that I noticed, remember I told you that this was really important. I made a reference on where a landmark structure was when I took that photo, so I can go back and track, you know, check for tracks later on. When I went back there, I could not find that landmark. None of the trees that have faces are there. Those woods don't even exist back there anymore.
So let me ask you a question, though. Steve, I'm confused because, like, you saw this Dogman and you saw a Bigfoot, but, like, what is your opinion on what was going on there? Why were they cohabitating? You know, what was going on? Like, what do you think is going on there?
Well,
like, what have you figured out up to this point now?
What I figured out is that group of cryptids, the Dogman and Sasquatch, and that section of woods was portaled into the forest behind my house, because those woods aren't there anymore. And, you know, Jessica Jones, she had mentioned that there was portals behind my house. I have another person that's very good at that kind of stuff. Also, they don't even know each other, and she said the same exact thing. There's floating portals behind my house, and across the street, there's an anchored portal. And apparently, are here to guard what comes through those portals.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced that myself, but I've seen a lot of weird stuff out here, you know, from orbs to something that looks like a flying cucumber that flies like a hummingbird that has about a 1.5 wing spread. Yeah, just bizarre stuff.
Well, here's a little weird thing, you know, because one of the things that happened, I told a story before you came on the show, and it was about these people's encounters with this little, I call it a gnome only because it had a red cap. It could be a goblin of some kind with a red cap, but it was really weird because they after the first few months, it was that creature, but then they started seeing this Dogman looking creature and behind their house. So it's, you know, it is weird that those creatures, you know, whether it's a Mothman looking creature or a goblin or some sort of, you know, Bigfoot type creature or an alien looking creature, but then Dogman shows up. It's really weird. Or you'll have Dogman and Bigfoot, and then Goatman shows up kind of like, hey, as a third party. Hey, what's up? What's going on? You know, it's just you get weird combinations of that, you know?
Yeah, the waters are really murky with that kind of subject matter, because you have, I would consider, let's say, the authentic Dogman and Bigfoot, and then there's government creations, I would say.
Yep.
Then there's entities could pose as your long deceased grandma and
Yep.
be a UFO at the same time.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So-
trickster spirits, and then you have skinwalkers, and you have all these. It gets real convoluted, and then. But I believe that these originals that you're talking about, I think they come from Inner Earth. That's my
Yeah,
opinion. That's what I
and-
think. I think that's where they're from.
I think you'd
I
have to
believe
have
you're right.
alliances. I think you'd have to have alliances to be able to survive with so many
or they'd be killing them all
different
the time.
types. Yeah, I mean, you already have
And
so much
they're
division.
intelligent people too, you know. I mean, they're
Yeah, I was
intelligent
going to
beings.
say, with them grouping up, it shows that they understand what's important and what's
Yeah.
at stake, and what would be needed for survival, instead of just
Yeah, working together it pays off. I mean, I've seen videos of wolves working with badgers and bears and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Well, you've heard of Melvin Catcham, right?
Oh yeah, I just messaged with her a few days ago.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you know, her findings on Bigfoot was that
yeah.
primate. You know,
Yeah, I was gonna
female.
I tried to get her to come on the show, but she's like, I got nothing new. She's waiting for some stuff to come in, and then she's gonna try to, So I told her, I said, well, everybody maybe's already heard it. I said, but maybe my audience hasn't. I don't know. But she's been so ridiculed because anybody who speaks out.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing that you and guys like you and me and Carter Bouchard and Barton Nunley, we're kind of spearheading a movement, that is starting to become more like Ron Moorhead. Me and him talked at length about this. Things are changing, and the people that were, Ron's an old OG from back in the day, but people are starting to now this new wave of people, and people have told me that I'm at the forefront of that, but there were people here before me doing it. But a lot of people weren't. They were just like, hey, we're going to stick to this narrative that it's some kind of animal, and that's it. And we're not going to give you anything. If you say that there's one of these creatures with something else, well, that's not, we can't do that. And I was getting reports all the time of these things being together, fighting each other, getting along, doing different things, but being in the same vicinity. And I just kept saying, man, there's a lot to this, man. And finally, when I was able to break out and do my own show, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on that needs to be talked about, because these creatures are often seen together. Now, when you're talking about Barton Nunley, I think he's in the chat. I think.
Yeah, he's there.
So Barton, has a story about the Spotsville Monster, and when he finishes writing that, I'm waiting for that book, because Barton's a good author anyway. But when you look at the story that he told me, the story front to back, but there were two different types of Bigfoot. They were distinctly different, but they were working together. Absolutely working together, and that's what happens. You get these stories, dude, and I don't think it's a coincidence. I did one not too long ago, which there was a bunch of activity going on right outside of Kerrville, and I had a UFO report, and I thought, what are the odds that there's a guy that's been messaging me telling me that his uncle's a werewolf? Like, he's all those werewolf sightings out there in Kerrville. He told us, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, he said it's his uncle that did that. There was another guy that said that he conjured up a goat man in that area. Well, then we get all these UFO reports, and it's all in between, like there and Bandera and that area, and you're going like, what is going on here? I mean, that, you got all these weird anomalies happening in one area, and then I get a call. Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, and then there's all these people who just don't want to play together. They don't want to, I reached out to a guy from the UFO community. I wish I could put him on blast. I'm not going to. I'll bite my tongue. But he's well known, and he gave us like this basic brush off, like, oh, well, yeah, Dogman and Bigfoot's just something totally different. That has nothing to do with UFOs at all. And I told this guy, I said, why are people that are living in the haunted areas where they're reporting spiritual activity are seeing Bigfoot, Dogman, and UFOs? And he said, probably because they smoke crack. That was his response to us. And I was like, oh, okay. And so this guy, he laughed like he thought it was cute. Same kind of response I got from some jerk up in Northeast Texas who basically just refused to believe that Dogman even exists, much less that they could do anything. You know, it was just, if it was real, it had nothing to do with Bigfoot at all. And he was just kind of insulting and snotty to me and Barton. But, you know, these are the people who are going to go away. You know, not only are they all really old anyway, they're all going to fall by the wayside. The new is going to come up, and we're going to get down to the nitty gritty and learn things about what's really going on.
Well,
I'm convinced of that because the old guard's going. I mean, they're going to be.
And I was going to say, like, it just shows progress, and that, you know, we're coming to a closer. I mean, I'm not saying that we'll ever really truly understand what's going on, but at least we're moving in the right direction forward towards that step, because I'm sure the first couple guys that were doing bloodletting, everybody was like, oh, I don't know about that. Then all of a sudden it started getting real popular. Then people are like, hey, that's killing people, guys. Let's not do that. And those people were the ones that were seeing like, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, well, maybe they did. And it's like we're slowly moving forward, and we're not just being accepting of the answers that, hey, these are just creatures that you just magically can never find, and that you'll just, you know, you can never find any trace of them magically. But yeah, these aren't supernatural creatures in any way, or they have no supernatural abilities, or there's nothing special about them besides the fact that they're just, you know, regular flesh and blood creatures
walking on two legs like people.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, you know, and magically just have the ability to play Where's Waldo in a way that you've never seen before.
Yeah, yeah. And even though you know, I've talked about him multiple times with Ken. He's one of my friends now. He's an aper when it comes to Bigfoot, but completely supernatural when it comes to Dogman. So Ken's one of those hybrids. I don't know what to do with that guy. I like him. He's a good guy, but I mean, he's just the way he is. I give him hell. But the thing is, somebody just said in the chat. Now, I would like to get your opinion on this too, Dark. They said that is there an encounter where Bigfoot loses the Dogman? Absolutely. I've heard a lot of stories where Bigfoot get killed by them. Not the least of which is a story that I was given right outside of Cedar Park, or Leander, where someone saw a huge dogman chasing a Bigfoot. I think what it boils down to is which one's bigger. And I think that because they said Bigfoot is bigger and angrier. Well, Barton, he had Bigfoot encounters, so he's terrified of Bigfoot, but not Dogman. Now I'm the opposite. I've had Dogman encounter, and the thing looked like the same descriptions of a Bigfoot, except a huge wolf head on there. Like take the Bigfoot with different legs and put a wolf's head on it. That's all it is.
I've seen neither, so I think I can take them both.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little more afraid of Dogman just because I've done a lot more research in the Dogman field. Until the last few years, I've done a ton of Bigfoot work, but the Dogman always seemed to be very violent, very aggressive. Now, you get people who like to sugarcoat it and try to spin a narrative. I don't know what they're up to, but they'll sit there and cherry pick stories from people who said, oh, it didn't hurt me. And then they're like, yeah, because it could have hurt you if it wanted to, but it didn't hurt you, right? It didn't hurt you. Whereas I get people saying these things chase me, they try to break into my house, they destroy things, they kill my pets, my livestock. I mean, there's places where people go missing, where they go, they're seen. There's all kinds of stuff that happens with these creatures. And people absolutely do not believe that they will hurt them, because these people, podcasters, whatever, will sit there and tell them that, oh, no, nobody doesn't hurt nobody. Look at how many shows I've put out where it says nobody hurt, because you're picking those, you're cherry picking and saying that that's the case, and then absolutely denying that they could be tampered with by any sort of shadow government. That's another one. They don't want to admit to that, and they dang sure don't want to admit that they could be a Nephilim or anything from the fallen angels. That's another thing. They just throw it all out, and they say it's just a dumb animal species that somehow has human-level intelligence and can walk around on two legs and occasionally do supernatural things, you know? And then they're so ridiculous. They're like, yeah, everybody does supernatural things. Like sometimes, you know, I'll be walking through the grocery store and I'll just bleed into another reality and come back.
You don't do that.
I mean, you know, I see it all the time. But, you know, and they really act that nonchalant about it, and you're going like, are you out of your freaking mind? Like, this is obviously not, yeah. But what is your opinion on all that, Dark?
It goes to show there's so many variables, even when you come into one type of cryptid, that we really don't know anything about it, you know? And in a big stew like that, I would try to pick out commonality. And it's pretty interesting once you start doing that you start seeing a lot of things line up, and that's where I see all this stuff comes together. I'm not sure about the credibility of the source that I heard it from, but I heard that it takes 3 Sasquatch to take down one dog. So that's one thing that I heard.
Well, that's a tough one to, you know, argue, because it's like, what's scarier, a stronger, you know, fist with opposable thumbs or claws and fangs, you know, and like what is better?
Strong too.
Yeah, exactly. Terrifying, but it's like, what is, like, because Sasquatch can grab stuff, and, like, you know, they'll grab rocks and trees and stuff, and hit it. So it's like, what would you rather be hit by, a tree, or would you just get cut open?
See, somebody just said Bigfoot is stronger than a Dogman. Dogman is quicker. I disagree with that. I think it varies. I think it varies.
Yeah,
it
with that, just
on
like
which
everybody.
species or what you're dealing with. Barton always says that if the gorilla fights the canine, the gorilla wins every time. But I told Barton, I said, you don't, and I don't believe that that's really what we're dealing with, because this isn't a gorilla and this isn't a wolf. Now, they may look like a gorilla and a wolf, but, you know, like they may look like the game Rampage, but it's not.
No, I mean,
it's not Ralph and George. They're not a gorilla and a wolf. It's something similar to that
with human level intelligence. So that means.
But Dark,
tactics
tell us some
like
more.
That.
Yeah, definitely tactics. Dark, tell us a little more. Like what other encounters? Like what else has happened to you?
Well, you know, I was telling you earlier, I was doing that show, podcast with Truth, and we caught that. At the end of the show, I was talking to Bass backstage, and my girlfriend, Parmer, she came out and was taking pictures, because people in the chat during Livestream was seeing eye shine and things moving around. So we got in the habit of just taking photos, and we ended up catching a photo of the smallest Dogman, baby Dogman that I ever seen. I took a 4-foot light bar and I ran extension cords, and I went out into the woods. I got a fire ring that's set up out there, and I got face cords that are in between trees that's holding all the wood up. And I had a chair propped in front of it where I did the show, where I was sitting in. And when my girlfriend took the photo, right behind me on where the face cord is, you could see this little tiny Dogman coming up, and one of its arms is on top of the wood pile, and you could see all of its claws. And in the photo, it's white. And the pieces of wood are 3 to 4 inches wide, and its head was just about that big too, the top of its skull, so it's tiny. And that happened in June, and the encounter that I had with the group, with the Bigfoot and the Sasquatch, with the baby Dogman, that was in April. So already from my photographic evidence, I can tell you that they have babies in April and all the way up into June. So that's good evidence to know different things like that. The biggest thing that I found out later on was in the photo, when you look at that baby Dogman's eyes, they're huge, way bigger than any normal canine eyes would be. They're big, bulbous looking eyes when they're young like that. But the eyes were jet black, like they were soulless. There was nothing. It was like a black-eyed kid. There's nothing there.
Like a shark.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that's got soulless eyes, you know? And that's my comprehension of it for a couple of months, until I ran into somebody who said they encountered a Dogman and they seen a third eyelid come up from the bottom part of the eye up, and it was black. And then later on, I ran into another guy who witnessed Jeremy Fountain. He witnessed a Sasquatch who has the same third eye that comes up and it's black. So the Dogman and the Bigfoot have that ability. I don't know if all of them have that, but they do have it. And I believe because I was running a 4-foot light bar, it was really bright and it came up over the wood pile. I bet you he had those third eyelids up, because their eyes are probably pretty sensitive to light.
Yeah.
But you can imagine they would use those eyelids too, running through brush, Because if you ever shot a deer and you look into their eyes, you could see all these scratches on their eyeballs from running into twigs and stuff, you know. So
Yeah, that
those
would make
eyelids
sense.
protect them. Yeah, protect for that. And then one last thing too, which is interesting. If they could do that with their eyes, that means when you have a light source out there, you're not always going to get eye shine back.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that they self-illuminate? Because I had a hunter recently tell us that he was bow hunting, and like he saw what broad daylight, but he saw like red like refracting off of the light in these two dots, and he was like, "What is that?" And so he looked, and he scoped it out, and it was a dogman. I mean, it wasn't a big one, but it wasn't a baby either, but it was a skinny kind of gangly looking thing. But he said that its arms were kind of like hanging off at the front of it, and one of them looked like it was messed up or something. And he saw it like very clearly, dude. And he was like, dude, it was far away, but he could see it. And he goes, you could see the light of the sun going through the eyes, and they were red. About 2 months after that, him and his friend Brian were out there. Probably shouldn't say his name, but anyway, him and his friend were out there. This was up in Oklahoma, not Oklahoma, Kansas. Like just on the border. And he said that they were out there and they were walking through this field, and his friend began to tell him, they had never discussed this before, and he said, dude, last time I was out in this area, I saw what would look like a werewolf. They had no idea what a dogman was back then. This was like in 2002 or something like that. And the guy, his friend said, holy crap, I saw one too. But he said, I just remember seeing this wolf-looking creature, and its eyes, like the black of its eyes, filled up the entire, like, you know, there was nothing but black. And then when it moved, do what?
That's probably those eyelids.
Yeah, and you're the first one though that I've ever actually told me that is like an extra eyelid, because I've always wondered about the eyes. How come sometimes they're, what do we get, Anthony? Like red, orange.
Yeah, red, orange, yellow.
Yeah, yellow. Sometimes white, even blue.
Yeah.
You know, and then they'll glow. Sometimes they won't. It's really weird.
You see, that tells you that there's a variety of different kinds, just like people, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I've seen red glowing eyes before. Me and my girlfriend, her name's Primal Cry on YouTube.
Yeah,
we were driving home. Okay, we were driving home in the snow, and we crossed a bridge to the river that goes behind the house, and I noticed out of the headlight range, there's way up in the tree was two massive red eyes. They were like the bloodiest ruby red eyes I've ever seen in my life. And they were huge because you could see them from afar, and you could see the shapes of them. They were like almond shaped and kind of side by side, you know, not like on each side of the head, but forward, you know, like a canine would be. But it was up about 50, 60 foot up in the tree. And it was in a tree that was right on the bank of the river. I think it was probably sitting there waiting for some game to come by to drop down on it or whatever. I could only assume it was a dogman. I never got to see the body of it. Because, you know, there's no street lights or anything like that up here, and I didn't have a spotlight to get a light up that far. But they definitely glowed red, and it freaked me out. I was like, "What the heck is that?"
Yeah, where do you live?
I live in a very northern central part of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, I'm never going up there. Never.
I'm like about 20 minutes from the upper peninsula of Michigan.
Yeah, that's where a lot of dogman activity is, too. Yeah, that's definitely where it's at.
Well, there was an old lady up here years ago that got ripped up behind a store at night. I think on New Year's Eve. And they claimed it was a pack of wild dogs. I'll tell you right now, the wolves up here, you could put a saddle on the wolves and ride them around. You could mistake them for dogmen all day. But they're slate gray wolves. I've seen one big black one before too. But those wolves, the coyotes up here are huge.
Yeah, we have huge coyotes.
There's no way a pack of wild dogs would live up here. And claim that they could have said it was wild, it was coyotes, you know. But they just kept saying it's wild dog. But the lady's arms and legs were pulled out. Most of her clothes were off. The center, half her stomach on the side of her body was eaten out.
Yeah, okay, we're good, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a Chihuahua, so I can say that sounds like dog bites to me. If I could say anything, I mean,
having a Chihuahua,
Well,
you're an
Josh-
expert in dogs
Exactly.
and dog behavior and anything dogs.
There you go. Josh,
Yeah.
you and Mushu can come up here, and you're always welcome to hang out up here. We got a camper you can stay in.
Nah, we're
keep
good,
the
dude.
door-
Mushu and Banjo can go up there. His little dog Banjo, they'll protect him.
I got to
good.
give the Dogman a chance, so I don't want him to get hurt.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair if I go up there.
He would really swell
you know. I don't know.
local population if I brought him up there.
I'd probably just, choke a few here and there, and that'd be about it. I don't want to embarrass them. Yeah, I'm good, sir. I don't want my head turned around. I don't want to see my butt. I'm good. What's crazy when you talk about this is like we're talking about the dog attacks. Now, that happened recently right outside of my hometown. Well, not recently, but a couple years ago. And someone had their horse torn up, and they had to put it down. And it was very sad. And they were friends of my cousin, and it was just it was awful. And I was really aggravated with the way that they handled it, because like the local police department was just like, oh well, sheriff's department, whatever. They're like, oh well, it happens. Coyotes, and I'm like, dude, coyotes are big, but what here in Texas they're really big. My wife has commented like, really how big our coyotes are. She's like, compared to Southern California, she's like, y'all's coyotes look like wolves.
Yeah, they get up to like Labrador sizes sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, they get pretty huge.
So they went from saying it was a coyote to confirming that it was a pack of dogs that did it. And I'm like, because our coyotes are so big and aggressive here, they really don't allow, like you said, they don't really allow for packs of wild dogs. I don't know the last time I've even heard of anybody in this whole area where wild dogs ate something of theirs, because if there's a pack of wild dogs running out there, our coyotes are going to kill them. I mean, it's as simple as that. Our coyotes are really big, and they're aggressive, and they're not scaredy little coyotes either. Like if you're out on post, like I was out on post where you were working at one point, Tony, remember? Mm-hmm. And I took a picture of one of them coyotes, and when I posted it on Facebook, that was about 6 years ago, people thought it was a wolf. I said, no, that's a coyote. It wasn't a coy wolf either. It was a coyote. We have coy wolves too. They started showing a few years ago. But that coyote, there were two of them, and they were not afraid. Like I took a rock and threw it at one of them when they were getting into the trash, and it just like to get them away from, because I was trying to do my workout. And they just kind of looked at me and slinked away and then came right back. I mean, they don't have a lot of fear.
No, I mean, I would come home and I would have like pictures of them just walking right up to my vehicle. And like I would have to be on the lookout at around like 5 or 6 o'clock, because like I know they're going to be around, so I have to roll up my windows, because they start wandering around and they don't really care. Mm-hmm. They'll dig into your trash, and it's, I'd have to be careful about throwing food outside, because then they'll
come right
around.
up to your car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had one. What happened to me? I had one dark that years ago, back in 2006, I got out and I urinated on one. I didn't even. I was like, it was right there by the front of my truck, and I had eaten fajitas. And it was a barbecue joint named Bill Miller, and I had some beans and some brisket left. And I'm throwing it out, and I just left it out. I figured the raccoons or whatever. Well, I hear something smacking on it, and I get out, and I'm like half asleep, And I took a whiz, and unfortunately there was a cat right there, and I heard a growl, and I just kicked, and it was in the darkness. I just saw something like the head of a canine-looking thing. Of course, I'm thinking, I'm getting attacked by a dog, man. And this thing flipped end over end. Like, I didn't do it on purpose. I wasn't trying to hurt it. He was fine. He landed and got up and and he ran off. But it was a coyote. And I felt kind of bad, because it was actually a coyote that I'd kind of made friends with. And I don't really like coyotes, per se. But he was cool. He just came and he was hungry, and he wasn't real big. But I kicked him on accident, But yeah, they're real brazen, dude. They'll come right up to you. So it's really when the police say, "Oh, it was a pack of wild dogs," I'm kind of inclined to believe that they're full of crap, because that's not dogs that's doing that. Because there's not a lot of packs of wild dogs running around out here. They're just not, because the coyotes will kill them.
Yeah, it's too much of a hassle to be fighting these coyotes all the time. I mean,
yeah, they don't survive.
They wouldn't make it. Yeah,
no, they wouldn't make it. I mean, that's why I tell people, if you dump a dog out, like it's really sad. I saw some people do it one time, just dumping them out right over there near right outside of New Braunfels. We were going down that riverfront drive, and these people just stopped and just let a dog out and then drove off. And I thought, unbelievable. So I got their license plate. I turned them in for whatever good it did, but the dog took off and was kind of scared and wouldn't come to us, and it ran off into the woods. That was about 12 years ago, but I thought, man, that thing ain't gonna last one night. The hogs or the coyotes will kill it. So the whole pack of dogs thing doesn't hold water to me because they're gonna get killed. They're not going to last. Not in this area. Now, maybe when you go to other places somewhere, if it depends on the dogs, I guess. But these packs of coyotes here, they get like 20 strong. I mean, you hear them, and you'll hear distinctly a dozen to 2 dozen, howls.
Yeah, it starts off as like you hear one yip, and you're like, "Oh, there's a coyote," and then you just hear like a rager. There's a
whole party going on. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'll hear that up here, and I'll hear a Dogman mixed in that too.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
So you know what they sound like, Dark, because you've been around them. So like when you're out there and about, do you still go hunting and doing all that stuff?
Oh hell yeah, I'm always in the woods.
Oh God. So you're one of those hardcore people. No matter what, that's that. Yeah, I know some people like that. I know a guy who saw a Bigfoot. And I believe him, too. It's the only thing weird's ever happened to him in his whole life. And it was a huge Bigfoot. And it was up there near Brownwood. And he said, I'm still going to go hunting. I don't care. I'm going to go and do what I do. And I was like, all right. Talking about Ian. He said, he ain't afraid. I'm not afraid. I saw it, And his son was, like, terrified. His son was, like, 11 years old. He's, like, 22 now. He won't even go outside to we were out at my friend's farm. And his son wouldn't even go around the corner to take a leak. He's like, no, I'm not going to do it. I was like... But his dad's like, there's Bigfoot. I mean, if it exists, it exists. Nothing we can do about it. And I was like, well, you saw it, and that you still don't believe it?
Stay away from it.
Yeah, he thinks that it's some sort of ghost, like it was a spirit or something, which that could be, right? But I think the way that thing was tearing down trees, you got to understand, spirit or not. First of all, it's not a ghost per se, but it is a spiritual being. But it can still destroy things, and it can still hurt you, and it can still move within the physical realm, our confines of our physical realm. So what else has happened to you, Dark? I know you've got some other stuff. What's going on?
Well, there was one time I went outside. I usually go outside late at night, and like I said, the woods are right up against the house. And I went outside to smoke a cigarette because I don't smoke inside the house, or whatever, And I was sitting there smoking, and then all of a sudden I heard this breathing that was real raspy. And I was sitting there thinking, is it me? So I just held my breath and I kept hearing it. So I listened to it, and it was severely long, deep inhale, and it was gurgly like it was wet. And I heard other people who had encountered Sasquatch say the same thing. It's like it had phlegm in its lungs. But there is this massive deep intake and then a massive exhale. And it was all calm, just breathing. And because like I said, it's pitch black up here. I had the front porch light on, and I'm standing out in the driveway. And to the side of the house, there's no light where we park the cars, and it's jet black. And after a while, I deduced where that was coming from. And it was right behind me. So I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, there's one right there. And I was thinking, this is my only chance once in a lifetime that I could actually turn and look at one face to face, And I was almost going to do that. And I thought better of it because this is right next to the house. And I have my girlfriend and her son in the house. And I didn't know how it would react if I turned and looked straight at it. So I didn't want it to freak out and then stupid stuff happen, I mean, I really don't. They're unpredictable to me. All the encounters and things that I've had here have been awesome. It's like they coexist with us. But I always use discernment, and they're just like people. You never know if there's a psycho one or one that has a bad day or whatever, But so I didn't know what would happen, and it was too close to home to even test it. So I actually have to admit I chickened out and I ended up walking backwards, back up the steps and into my house. So that was that for that one.
Chickening out is probably a smart thing, though. I mean, that keeps you alive.
Yeah,
You know,
but I regret
especially
it
when it
too,
comes to the
man.
Dogman.
I really wanted to see it though. But you know what? Like I said, they made contact with me out there when I seen that group. So I'm sure in the future they're going to do this again. And I believe I'm going to try to establish some kind of contact because I have some particular questions that I want to ask them, and I want to see if I can find out the truth to what they are.
Yeah. And so at this point, the verdict is still out for you. You don't know what they are. Like you don't have a set.
I have narrowed it down pretty far. I think they definitely have some tie to the fallen. I don't say that they're Nephilim because Nephilim were actually the giants. But I believe that there's a lot of abominations that were created back then because in the antediluvian age, the giants ran all the kingdoms and stuff, and there's a lot of hybrid creatures. They did the same stuff with chimeras that we do today back then. And when the flood came, a lot of things escaped the flood because they went underground. And just like you said, you believe they came from in the earth. That's kind of where I'm banking that they're coming from. The one thing that's interesting is because part of their DNA shows human in them, the female side. My question is, if you get into beliefs with God and stuff like that, if you're an abomination and you aren't created, you didn't choose to be created what you are. Is there a forgiveness for you?
Well,
and then,
St. Christopher.
Then the other thing, that's true. You nailed it right there. Then the other aspect is too that I lost my train of thought of that one.
You were talking about. Do you want me to tell everybody what you were talking about?
Yeah, we'll rehearse it. Get the old brain kicking again.
You were talking about them not being, but if they were an abomination, and them having a soul, I guess is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, true. Because even like when Enoch, the giants asked Enoch to talk to God about saving them, or whatever, because they had those dreams about their death, their doom.
Oh yeah, the Book of Giants, yeah.
Yeah, but the one thing that surprised me was that no, your fate's sealed. This is how it is. But what you should do is pray. I remember hearing that, and I'm like, okay, well, does that mean there's a chance, So,
well, and some of the Nephilim were saved. Their ancestors, the fallen angels, the rebellious angels are not the fallen angels. Two different things that happen. Okay, the fallen angels, the 200 Watchers, they were imprisoned. Them and their leader, yeah. And I'm not even going to say his name, but he was in prison, and they said that the leader, he was imprisoned within the earth for as long as the earth shall endure. That's a long time, because what's happening now is not the end of the world. It's the end of an age, an end of an era. And when it happens, it happens. But according to what the Book of Enoch says, that guy's still going to be imprisoned. He's going to be imprisoned until the earth burns up 4 billion years from now. I mean, that's what that is insinuating.
I guess until the White Throne Judgment, yeah.
And if you're trapped with let's say a 3 or 4 dimensional mind, I guess you could say that would not be, you would be feeling every bit of that if you're not living outside of space and time, which beings do, and people are capable of that too. I'm not going to get into all this esoteric whatever, but it depends on your perspective of what you're seeing, because like your perception is what's going to make heaven or hell for you.
And I'm sure, being of those higher densities, it'd probably be like I have obviously no way to knowing for sure, but it's probably be like if you could feel something with your entire body, if like every inch of your skin was being pressed by something. That's probably the uncomfortableness of being imprisoned like that, of having those higher levels of higher density levels of minds of consciousness, and perception of that would be tormenting, especially now that you're trapped basically and you're being forced to endure all that all the time. It's
Well, and it goes back to, like, if you watch the show, is it Immortals? Where is it with the Titans where they're sitting there with those things?
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are those.
So those beings, they're holding on to that like a piece of wood or something.
Oh,
they got the thing in their mouth, and they're just like stuck like that because they were trapped in Tartarus, and what it mirrors a lot of that. Like Zeus put them there, but there could be some confusion because it could be Zeus and his guys that actually got in trouble because they were the ones watching. They were supposed to be, and so there could be this whole flip, which happens. Plus, different eras, different things, and not always the same good guys or the same bad guys. The Germans were the bad guys, and then the Russians were the bad guys, and then Germans are the good guys. And it flips. You don't know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, and it doesn't stay the same. And so you got all this weird stuff happening, upheaval. Well, it's every age is different.
Yeah, history goes to the victor, though.
What I'm saying, though, is like each age, it doesn't matter what people say. I'm talking about the Akashic records hold the truth. And if you were like Edgar Cayce, he could see all of that. And Nikola Tesla even commented on that. And I believe that it goes really far deep, like into esoteric where we can't go with 3 strands of DNA open. It's just not going to happen. You can't do it. Our three-dimensional brains are so puny and weak and stupid, all of us, really. We can't comprehend time. People cannot comprehend time. Like, I got in an argument on Facebook the other day, which is the place to go argue science, of course. And follow me on this one, Dark. I got into an argument with this guy. I don't know what you believe, but your views are pretty close to mine. And this guy was trying to tell me that the world was 5,000 years old. And I said, no, it is absolutely not 5,000 years old. Okay. That's what you have come up with, and with very flimsy evidence on that. And then there's all this evidence that civilization is way older than, but even if you went back 20,000 years, like Graham Hancock, 28,000 is what he said, right, Anthony?
Yeah.
Okay. So Graham says 28,000. That's a drop in the bucket. That's nothing. You're going back into like the age of the beginning of the Dwapara Yuga. That's not even the beginning of the Dwapara. That's just in the middle of the Dwapara Yuga. So you're like in the third age. This is before the flood, right? I'm talking about going back past, even beyond the beginning of the Satra Yuga, which was 4,320,000 year cycle. That's the beginning cycle. We're going back further than that. I'm talking like, what about 3 or 4 or 5 Yuga cycles way back? There's no telling what was there and what happened and what went on and how many people visited this planet from different realms. We have no way to know.
Our history is just
very limited.
What we found, basically. It's not of everything that there is. It's just like, oh, this is what we've discovered. And what we've discovered paints a picture, but it's a very small picture if you just go by that. You have to think of all the stuff that didn't survive and that were wiped out, and
over and over and over.
Alexander assaulted and destroyed the earth, and it's still destroyed to this.
Thebes.
Thebes, exactly.
Nothing will grow there.
Nothing will grow there. That could have happened so many times.
To so many places, and the Romans did it to Carthage. That was just 2,000 years ago. When you look at 2,000 and some change, but when you look at things from the standpoint of millions of years, a million years is a long time. But when you're talking about a 4 million year cycle, then it starts over and happens again and again and again. And everybody thinks, this history of this is the be all end all. No. History's happened over and over. It says in the Bible, too, like nothing is new under the sun. What you were talking about the giants, Dark, do you remember what you were saying about how some of them may have survived?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What you were talking about, do you remember in the Old Testament when Joshua and Caleb went out they sent spies out to go and look to investigate the land of Canaan? They came upon giants. Do you remember that? Yep. Not like we were there. We remember. You probably read it before because you read the
Remember?
You remember, right? But we talked about the good old days. So. They saw though, they were holding grapes, and the grapes were as large as they were, like the bushel of grapes. So when you look at something that's that large, that had to be the remnants of the Nephilim. I mean, right there, some of them were saved. I believe that some of them were allowed to go, but not their fathers. I don't believe that I believe they were punished severely. But I believe that some of the Nephilim were spared, because they repented. Now, what you were saying about do they have a soul? If you look at that eye, like a lot of people would say that those dark eyes, and I got a story. It's probably going to be not this Tuesday, but the next Tuesday after. I'm going to do one. Black-eyed adults. I don't even know what to call it. I don't know what the name is going to be yet, but I'll give you a little teaser.
I had an experience with that.
Oh, well, I need to talk to you then because I'm doing a show on that. Yeah, we need to talk after this because I'm fixing to record. But one of the things that I know is that those black eyes could also be a form of empty vessel that could be filled by, quote unquote,
yes,
the evil spirits of the earth, so that whoever is bioengineering these thugs, was what they are, they're sticking the souls of these evil spirits into them. And they're filling those bodies.
There's also the other aspect where a person gives up their will or humanity to evil. And you have possession, but there's a stage after possession where that entity moves in and totally possesses the body, and your soul
possessed.
No longer resides in that body anymore.
Yeah.
So they're totally taking over.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, and what happens is the resident soul moves out. I mean, it's gone. But you end up in a limbo type state until the body is completely dead, which that is dependent upon the parasite that has taken over. And you're right. I have been around people who I think are perfectly possessed. I shared an elevator with a guy that was one of the creepiest things ever, and I was working in a building with my brother. And I don't know if I've talked about it on the show or not, on one of the podcast episodes, but all he ever did was grunt. And when I did some investigating, I realized that this guy didn't even fill out an application correctly. He had somebody else do it for him, which I don't even know how he was able to work. He couldn't speak. Me and my brother called him the bug man. We called him the bug man. Really, that's what we called him. And I believe he was perfectly possessed, But Dark,
He had 30 kids involved. So it wasn't good.
So do you have any experiences with people like that? Things that have happened with people that are perfectly possessed?
Just one, like I said, and it was by chance encounter in a heavy populated area, which was real weird. But I don't know if you want me to tell the story or not, or.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so this was back in the late 90s. And sorry I had to start up my car because it's like my only reception is out here and it's super freezing. But you guys still there?
Yeah, right here.
Okay, so my son was 4 years old during this time. And we always walked down. We kind of lived in a cake eater area, and we weren't cake eaters. But there was a bike trail that's along the side of the road, and we'd take that to the gas station, and we would get treats or whatever, and take a walk back home. It was during summer. This is like on a Saturday. It was pretty busy. There was a four-way intersection that I had to cross to get to the gas station. And like I mentioned earlier, there was a bike trail that runs parallel to the road. So it was behind the gas station and across the street, and then keep going south. So we walked across the street, and as I got into the curb where I would be, where the gas station is, kitty corner on that curb there, this guy came up from the bike trail. He was around probably in his upper 30s, early 40s. He looked like that guy from Machete, that movie. I don't know what that actor's name is, but he was rough looking. Yeah, he was rough looking. He had his hair parted in the middle, and it was in a braid, long black hair. He had a cut-off T-shirt on, a dark one with some cut-off shorts, and he was riding a BMX bike. And I thought, that's weird. And right behind him was about 20 to 30 kids on BMX bikes, all boys from like 7 to 14 years old. You can tell that they were from rich families because they had nice clothes and nice bikes and all that stuff. So this big swarm of bikes with kids come pulling around, and they park their bikes in front of the gas station on the sidewalk there, right in front of the gas station. And the older guy rode all the way up to the end of the parking lot where we were coming into. And he stopped there, and he was standing with his bike between his legs. And I'm staring at him like, what the heck, you know? I don't understand why a guy like that is with all these kids to begin with. And all the kids went into the gas station and was buying stuff. But as I was getting closer to the guy never looked at me. He was just standing there doing his own thing. And he was fishing around for a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. And he put a cigarette in his mouth. And when he lit it and inhaled. And that's where I was the closest to him walking by. And all of a sudden he turned and looked right at me. So prior to him looking at me, he had normal eyes like anybody else. But when he turned and he took a drag off a cigarette and he looked right at me, all of his eyes were jet black. I couldn't freaking believe it. And something inside of me, my spirit or something, wanted to go and just annihilate this guy. For some reason, he was involved with these kids because they were following him. And he was waiting for the kids to get all their stuff. And I just felt something super evil was going down. The only thing that stopped me was holding my hand was my 4-year-old son walking beside me. And I'm like, man, I can't do nothing about this right now because I don't want my kid to get hurt, you know? And, you know, all this stuff happened real fast because I didn't expect this to occur. And it just totally freaked me out. It's like when he looked at me with those eyes, it just went deep into my soul. And there was a recognition that something was evil or wrong with this person. And then he looked at me with those eyes, he blinked, and then he turned. And then the kids came back out of the gas station. They all got on their bikes. And then he got on his bike and he looked back and his eyes were normal again. And he went by the boys and they all took off and they followed. He was in the front and the mob of kids went right behind him. They kept on going down the trail. And the trail where they were heading was heading more, instead of woods and residential area, it was getting more towards industrial, low-key areas, you know. And I was thinking in my head, what the hell is he going to do with all these kids, you know? And there's a lot of kid trafficking and God knows what they do, you know, with kids missing and stuff like that. But that's, to me, it looked like the Pied Piper was piping all these kids down this bike trail to do something later on, you know. It's just so off the wall. But that was a true experience I had. And I never heard of anything with black-eyed anybody, you know, or anything.
I believe there's more than just the children. They have these black-eyed children, but I believe that people see the adults too. It just the black-eyed kids became the focus because it was so you know, weird and all, you know, just out of the.
Kids are always creepier, but
because kids aren't going to be out at 11 o'clock at night asking for cigarettes and stuff or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so you're just like, this is weird, you know? So it just became, and of course, David Weatherly, you know, he was the one that first broke that story, whatever. He doesn't like being referred to as the black-eyed kid guy because I always tease. Actually, I had a message with him earlier today, which reminds me, folks, if anybody out there, speaking of David Weatherly, we got on the subject of it. I had a box of books that was given to me by David, and there were 20-something books in there, and they were unsigned. I was supposed to get signed books. I had 2 boxes of about 20 books each, and one box was signed and the other one wasn't. So if you got a David Weatherly book from the giveaway and you're listening right now, hit me up. If you did not get one that's signed, hit me up so that I can get you a signed book. So David's gonna send me some, or I can wait. And the ones that I do have that are unsigned, I'll just get him to sign them at the conference. But yeah, just hit me up so we can make that right to you, so I can send you, because you were supposed to get a signed book. So even though it may be a big mess, I'll figure it out and I'll send it to you. But yeah, so anyways, you had an encounter with what you think is a black-eyed adult. What do you think those are? I mean, what is your opinion on that? What do you think those are?
Well, I believe, I'm a Christian. I believe, Jesus Christ and all that. So there are definitely, when you go through the history of giants, and then, the giants that were killed, their spirits were disembodied and they became demons and stuff. I would say it's highly logical that that person probably went through a rough life and lowered his standards enough, maybe even found comfort in the darkness and was able to be totally possessed, and I think it's beyond possessed. I think, like you said earlier, I think his soul somewhere in limbo, and that spirit is totally operating and operating in an operation against other people, like all those kids. So, and that's not, you don't see it all the time, but I guarantee it's probably common everywhere.
Yeah, and I'm sure what it is like instead of like a forceful protection or possession, it's more of a one where like they're willingly giving their bodies up, and like they're accepting of giving their body to the demon. So that's why it's like it's common, but also uncommon in the fact that not everybody's willing to do that. And it's also like you would think like, oh, it makes sense, like black-eyed kids, they would have to eventually grow up, but it's just a scary notion to think about that there's a black-eyed humanoids just walking around, whether they be kids or adults, who just have very nefarious and sinister air to them, to where like everybody who usually has encounters with them feel uncomfortable, they don't like it, there's something wrong, or like they just feel out of character for themselves. They know like this is not what I would do normally, this is not what I would feel, no, it's not what I would think normally. Like it's common for, I think, every story I've heard. That
you get people that get stories of like they look in the mirror and their eyes are completely black. And we've heard stories like that. And there was a guy who gave me a story of living with a female that he called a black-eyed person that was a black-eyed kid. And this guy gave me a story. It's going to be in one of the hour-long episodes. Probably not this coming Tuesday, but the Tuesday after it. It's going to be a whole hour just talking about that and what he went through. And it's it may answer some questions, but it may just create more questions to be answered. I don't know.
It always does. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to say before you jump off here, Dark? You got anything else, or do you want to save it, or what do you want to do?
Well, there's one thing that's interesting that I found out recently is, when you get into, remember we were talking about the Fallen and how they came down, the 200 that decided to make that pact to mate with the female women, so they're spiritual. The angels are spiritual, but they can become physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they mated physically with the females to create an offspring, and they did that to, I believe, to taint the bloodline of humanity, so Christ couldn't come in the picture. And then the second thing would be because humans were given dominion over Earth, but now you have a hybrid human who also has human that now has dominion over humans, I mean, there's multiple reasons why they did all that. But you fast forward into today, and you hear a lot of stuff about the cattle mutilations, and it's not just cattle. I even heard recently that humans are being mutilated too.
Oh.
But there's like 28 different times a sperm whale, a huge sperm whale, was taken out of the ocean, its reproductive organs were removed, and it was found in the middle of Africa in a landmass in the jungle. You know, and there's nothing that we have that. Why would anyone pick a whale up out of the ocean and drop it in Africa? That happened
Well,
over
I'm
20
pretty
years.
sure Africa is their natural habitat. I've never seen whales outside of Africa, so.
The continent of Africa. They roam around in the jungle with Mokili Mbembe. Yeah.
Well, here's what I'm getting at. Like, when you get into the cattle mutilations, the mutilations are done with superior accuracy, minimum effort, totally exact. They'll remove glands, hormones, thyroids, reproductive organs, whole anal cavities without messing up any arterial structures. They'll also remove every drop of blood. There's no blood anywhere around. Okay. And then even too, when those cattle mutilations, whatever type of animal it is, there's an energy signature that's on the ground from that incident, from the cattle, whether it was dropped down or whatever. There's a signature that you can measure there, and it's got a peak point in the center where the animal laying in the ground. And that energy signature will last for 20 years there. That's supernatural. There's no flies, no animals eating, no scavengers messing with those bodies. Now, they took all those parts, you know, eyeballs, tongues, everything. These entities are also abducting humans.
Oh, yeah.
And they're taking eggs and sperm. So, in my mind, I'm thinking they're doing the same thing they did before, but they're doing it in a different way. Not directly like they did before, but indirectly like everything is. But guarantee you, they're making a lot of hybrids. And biblically, there's supposed to be an army that Satan has that goes against God in the end times. I believe that this is what they're doing all this stuff for, is creating an army of abominations, you know.
Yeah, and you talk, you know, somebody mentioned earlier the beasts of the earth, and I think that a lot of what's going on, it all adds up. So, Dart, you got other stuff that I know that we've talked, and you have other whatever, but I want to interview you for my book. I would like to put some of your work in there because there's definitely some good stuff. So we got to talk, and also, like, I'm going to announce now, I think by the end of April, I will have one book done and then the other one by the end of June. And they kind of bleed together, you know, and then there's going to be a third book that's going to be about, you know, but we'll talk about that down the road. Also, somebody asked about the conference. The conference, I hope you can make it to the conference, Dark. That'd be awesome to have you there as a guest. The conference is going to be around Fort Worth. We were going to do it in Granbury, but they decided to pull something on us and change, and so me and Ken just kind of said, well, we're not going to do it there. So him and I are working on it. We're trying to get it together. It's going to be Labor Day weekend, and you know you're welcome to come free of charge. Tickets, yeah, and tickets are going to be $100 for the VIP, but you get a lot with it. You're going to get all 3 days, and then you can get like passes for Saturday, Sunday, and those are $50. Because it's a 2-day event, but with the $100 you get the Friday, you get the extra day, so it's like a bonus. And with that, because there's going to be like over 20 speakers, so it's going to be a 2-day event. It's going to be a big thing. So it's not going to be like any conference you've ever been to. I'm telling people right now, it's going to be bigger and better than last year, which was pretty good.
I heard the last one was awesome. I really wanted to go to that one too.
Yeah. Somebody said, Josh, you should visit him at his camper and do a live from there. No, thank you. No. You got too much weird going on, Dark. I don't think I want to go up there and be in your camper. But no, when we were joking earlier, we weren't laughing at you. We were just, so you know, we were just talking. We were just laughing about because these excuses they have for these animals, you know, where they end up, it's so ludicrous. And you're just like, dude, really? Like, come on, dude. Like, they insult people's intelligence. But, you know, if they do it enough, they figure that we'll all just be really dumb. And we'll just dumb ourselves down and just be like, okay, you know, and whatever. But,
hey,
all right, Dark, well, I'm going to let you run. What was that?
You mind if I do a shameless plug?
Oh, go ahead. Absolutely.
I got a group started at Facebook. If anyone in the chat wants to check out my evidence and stuff, it's called Primal Cry in the Dark Woods.
Okay. Yeah, and just post that on the Paranormal Roundtable group on Facebook, and we'll have your pictures on there too. I got the ones you sent me, and after the show, I'm going to stick those on the Paranormal Roundtable group, and you send your link to me, and I'll put it in that group, and they can come and they can join your group, and then I'll send out invitations to your group, and so we can work together, we can network. I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, thank you for having me. It was awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody whose birthday is today. There's a bunch of people who had a birthday today on St. Patrick's Day on my Facebook's like a bunch of people. My friend Thomas Davis wanted me to send him a shout out. Shout out to you. Also, I had another person that I need to thank is Bettina Moss, because she's been invaluable in helping me gather the witnesses and stuff and getting me, sending me in your direction, because you were on my Facebook as a friend and we had, talked a couple times briefly. But she put it together like, hey, you need to interview this guy. This guy's got a lot of good information. And so that's how you ended up on my radar. So a shout out to her. Thank you to Bettina.
Hats off to Bettina, yeah.
Yeah.
She's got a good channel, too.
So, Dark, send me your address and everything so I can send you some merch. So you can.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you can get some PRT gear. All right.
All right, I'll do that. I appreciate it, Josh. You guys are awesome. I've listened to you from the beginning when you had Sal and everything on. That was great.
Yeah, that's what's funny is like a lot of people from the community have been listening to me for a long time. A lot of the authors and podcasters, they listen to my show. And even though
an honor. Yeah.
I may not have as many listeners right now as a lot of these bigger guys, though I got quality. I got the smart people.
Yes, you do. That's right.
Well, we have Anthony, but we got to balance it out somehow.
Yeah, well, he's over there. All right, Dark. I appreciate you coming on, man. Dark Woods, everybody. Steven Seagal, not Steven Seagal. This guy's not a overweight guy who can't do karate. This guy is actually a good guy. All right, I'm gonna let you run, Steven.
All right. Thanks a lot again, Josh, and you got and the co-host and everything. You guys are awesome.
You too.
All right. Take care, chat.
Yep. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Stay safe out there from these Dogman and Bigfoot. People think it's some, some BS. I had one of these little Spitfire racers one day driving around out there where the one guy was a police officer who moved to Arizona, or he's in Arizona now. He moved to New Mexico, then Arizona. He keeps moving further away from Texas, but he had an encounter out there by the water treatment plant. And one of these little zipper race car guys was out. We were at the store one day, and he was telling me, "Yeah, I got a story. My uncle's got a story about blah blah blah." So I messaged him, and we started talking, and his uncle's story was a ghost story. But it turned out that guy's story was more intriguing because he saw a Bigfoot run right out in front of his car. And if his car, one of those little hot rod cars with the, if it would have hit the Bigfoot, probably wouldn't have hurt the Bigfoot. The car probably would have flipped and flew into 1,000 pieces.
Oh, yeah, those loud coffins. I mean,
the loud farting coffins. And it's so annoying too, because like the other night I was trying to talk to my wife and my voice kind of going out, and I was leaning into the car. I was at Juice Land. It's a really cool place where they fresh squeezed juice, and you can get. So yesterday I drank a celery juice. Oh my gosh, it was just so gross, but so healthy, very healthy, and it's a natural diuretic, so it's really good for you. So my kidneys and everything. So I drank one, but I was sitting there, I was waiting for the drink, and I heard this. And then every time I try to speak, it was like, and I was like, okay, so and then I was like, and then it would kind of slow, it would stop for a second, and it almost made us laugh, because as soon as I said, so do you want, it was like, and everything, every time I tried to speak, it would do it. Even if I just did like a little bit, it would do it. And I was like, wow, is this not like a Family Guy episode or what? I told my wife, I said, that has to be the universe, like, taking a jab at us for real, because it was like, it I was mad at first till it was so comical. I was like, they are so annoying. They are so annoying. I don't know how people can drive those cars and be that annoying. And if you're one of those people, I absolutely apologize for your parents having given birth to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry you have to live that way. It's tough, but let's hope that next time around you figure it out.
Or you go to a really fiery place of torment where you belong for doing that. But yeah, I couldn't even speak. And it was like, it's just, there's no reason for that. No reason for that. Why are there no mufflers? What are they doing?
I don't know. I think they equate loudness with ability or speed or something. Like, I don't understand the point of it.
They just think it makes them look cool because they're stupid.
I think the louder their car is, the less you have to look at them, and like the more tricked out the car is, the less tricked out the person is. So like they got no muscles or nothing, and they're always just.
They watch those stupid Vin Diesel movies.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Mm-hmm. And
The Last of the Curious.
That's the only reason that they always want to drive. What's it called? The manual transmission. They always want to drive stick, so they can pretend that they're Vin Diesel, and always playing with that stupid little stick, changing gears.
So we have to record tonight, folks. So we need to get some winners here together for the giveaway.
Let us set up the wheel of destiny.
What do we have for hoodies? We still got enough hoodies because we got some sizes we're out of in hoodies, right?
I don't think so. I think we got. I think we have a mix of colors in different sizes, but I think some of the new ones should fill out, unless we ran out this last time we did give outs.
Okay.
I mean, did we run out of large hoodies?
I think we might have a few large hoodies left.
So I think we should be fine.
It's not a whole lot of them.
Okay. What about those conference shirts? I saw we had a bunch of those, and I was thinking about taking what was left to the.
Yeah, we still have a ton of conference shirts.
Yeah. So we're about to place an order for the new conference shirts that are going to be coming out. So I don't know. I mean, we were thinking about placing an order for that.
DRC and all the guys that win last week, we did send out all the stuff. So
we sent it out today.
Yeah, so keep an eye out. It should be coming out soon.
It was hard to try to get everybody to get their information to us. Like, it was people like weren't giving it all. Like they weren't.
Cadillac, if you don't get your stuff, it's because we didn't get your name. So
we sent it in care of Chad Alack. So we don't know what your name is because you never gave us. And then when we messaged you, well, I messaged you, no answer. But
so let us know if you didn't get it, and we can try to figure it out.
Yeah, DRC, we got you.
Also, real quick, David's been asking this question. He says, when is the conference, and where do you buy tickets?
Tickets we're going to go on sale this coming Monday, but now that these people with the conference hall, even though we were ready to put the deposit down and everything,
you're not gonna believe what they said.
Go ahead.
They looked at us and they said, "You know what? We don't believe that there's gonna be any PRT troopers there." And we said, "Are you out of your mind?"
And they said yes, and we said, "Okay, we don't want to do people.
We don't want to deal with business like that anyway." And we gotta prove them wrong, guys. That's all I know.
So I got a message from Ken Gerhard, okay, and should I read it?
Oh no!
Should I literally read it? I don't know. Read it. I'm not gonna say any of the bad words. Now I won't read it word for word, but he just messaged me and saying that he was waiting. He was gonna come on the show tonight, and no, he was fine with that, but we hit a little snag, and the people from Granbury didn't want our conference to be interfere or confused, I guess, with the annual paranormal expo that goes on there. I didn't even know there was one. So my answer to him was, to heck with that. We'll go somewhere else. And I said it just like that in those nice terms. And then his answer was, okay, we'll find somewhere else. Yeah. That is a very sugar-coated exchange.
I mean, obviously
we were aggravated.
He was obviously very aggravated because it was pretty much like you had it in the palm of your hand, and then someone literally just eats it out of your hand. It was pretty annoying, but it's all right. We'll figure it out and we'll get it done, and it'll still be great. So we're pretty excited.
Yeah, but it's going to be fine because we're going to be fine. We're going to have the conference. It's going to go.
I mean, honestly, we can do it anywhere. What's important about the conference is that the PRC fans come out, and all the speakers come out, and everybody just has a good time. So,
and let's smash it because last year after we got back, people were talking crap, trying to say Josh Turner and his guys.
There was only like 50 guys there.
People there. It was like almost 500 people there. And what are you talking about? And there was like 17 speakers.
There was 50 people at the very end of it, which means that there's an entire day and about every speaker, and even the last speaker, the
last group we had was
a good amount of people.
There were over 70 people there.
Yeah, I mean,
we closed it down.
How many at most at the last speaker? Probably you would get like 1 or 2 guys at most conferences.
And somebody posted that picture, not in any
in a harmful way.
They posted it on their Facebook, and somebody literally went and grabbed that picture and plastered it everywhere and said that was the people we had at the conference, because they were just trying anything they could. Because our haters, they love to hate us, and I just love that they love to hate us because you're giving me energy. Not only that, but I got people who literally will sit here and watch every episode and hang on every word I say, and they're learning things too, which is good. And just they just hate my guts, and then they'll message me and be like, I hate you, I this, I that, I just want to do this and do this to you and blah blah blah. And I'm just like smiling like great. That's awesome, because you know what you did? You paid us. You listen to my shows, you go and you listen to the podcast. You're helping contribute. Thank you for that, because you're giving us views, and then you're making comments and you're just making more of a splash. Thank you. Because you're not hurting my feelings. People don't get it twisted. They think, you don't let them get under your skin. I like to it gives me energy. Go ahead, keep talking. Because at the end of the day, you're not in the spotlight and you're mad because somebody that you want to be in the spotlight, or yourself. And so, tough titty. It's your own fault. Go quit being lazy. Go make a podcast that takes 4 hours a week, which is baloney. It takes a lot more than 4 hours a week. I don't know how much of my free time I give to I guess all of my free time, pretty much, to making this show what it is. And Tony sacrifices his time. Anthony sacrifices his time. My wife sacrifices her time. We run businesses too. And this isn't our only deal. And it was like, dude, this guy's like, you're complaining that you have to do 4 hours a week. You really think it's 4 hours a week? Dude, that's just how long we're on the air every week. Okay. Next Friday, we got a guy who's going to come on. He was a paranormal investigator, and life was okay. Everything was good until he walked through a portal. He went to a haunted location, and his life was never the same. So he'll be coming on next Friday, and then after that, we have somebody from another podcast that comes on Sundays, one of my favorite, and they will be coming on the 31st, and then on and on and on. It goes on, and just the war drums keep beating. Now, that being said, this coming Tuesday, if somebody can answer me on here what the show is going to be about this coming Tuesday, you'll be the first winner. You won't have to get on the wheel or anything. Let's see what we got.
We'll give you a hint. Something supernatural.
I was going to say no hints. Yes, something paranormal. Chris Clough. Chris, that's not what I said. Black Eyed Kids, this dude. Somebody said Dark Wood stuff. Nope. Black Eyed People. Nope. Portals. Nope. Somebody said Poltergeist. Nope. That's just reaching now. Nope. Gremlins and Red Hats. Primal Cry. You won. Oh, that's that's Dark Woods' isn't that Dark Woods' friend?
I think
Is
so.
it?
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be cool.
There you go. See, they paid attention. Well, anyway, Primal Cry, you see my information here, Josh Turner, PRTpodcast.com. Go, send me an email, and you win. Give me your shirt size, and we'll send you something. Okay? So, thank you for participating in that. Now let's do the wheel.
All right.
Sugar Butcher said Gnomes, yeah, but Primal Cry got it
just
first.
a little late, Sugar.
Let's see. Let's reduce.
Thank you for that donation. Who's that? Can't read the
Purple Pluma?
purple bluma. No, purple pluma.
The sticker took over.
Or purple bluma. Is that a B or a P? I can't tell.
I can't see it.
It's a P.
It's a P.
Yeah. On the phone it shows up as a P, but on the computer it shows up as a B. It's weird.
Okay, David Compton says, I have never won. So
Oh, is that his wife?
Oh. So Susan is that?
Primal? Is that his wife? Or is
I
it
don't
just
know.
his friend?
I don't know.
Mhm.
Thank you, Purple Plumber, for that donation. Very nice.
Okay, so who was the first one?
Mammy J. Hall.
David Compton says, I have never won.
Mammy J. Hall hasn't either.
No, I wanted to add Maynard W. He said he's never won, and he's sitting up in the hospital after an amputation. And they said some.
Yeah, Maynard is also he's a Patreon.
Cool. Okay, who else hasn't won? Susie Jago says she's never won.
Robert Moore says,
Jago
I want
Jago.
the Black Ghost Werewolf thing about the Castle and Sword. Good Faith show. There's a lot to that story. Love that story. Yeah, that's called the Serbian Werewolf. I don't know what episode number that is, but I remember that. I did that investigation with my brother.
Mark Encina says I still haven't won. Been here since the beginning.
Okay, Mark, put him on there.
I can't pronounce his name, so they don't get chosen.
NJS74. I've never won.
Has Amy's won before, right?
Amy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
Who else?
Nina Torres says she hasn't won.
Okay. Anybody else haven't won? Amy says she's won twice.
So we have 3 more slots on the
Amy's always here though. So.
breaking wheel here.
Froetians here all the time says I've never won.
All right.
Called the breaking wheel though, because it's always broken.
Yeah. The broken wheel. We got what? 2 more slots open.
2 more slots. Who do we got?
Hexen Rab.
Who do we
I've
put on the
never won.
broken wheel of hope?
Or a 5X. Let's see.
Jaboy Varg.
I think
So, Varg, have you won? Have you ever been on here? Dark Woods asks the question, have I ever done a show about the Darrow? Yeah, I've talked about them. Now, my friend, the late Brenton Solomon, had an encounter with one that was pretty intriguing. I've talked about that one. Dark Richards, the broke wheel of crap. Thank you. Thank you for calling it the broke wheel of crap. Dick, always here to brighten our day. Fab Weeder 1 says, I've never won.
All right. Fab Welder 1. Is that him?
Weeder or Wilder? I can't.
It's a welder.
Welder, there you go. I leaned in.
Okay.
Somebody was like, this guy never looks into the camera because I'm looking at the screen in front of me.
yeah, we have screens.
With the,
It'd be kind of pointless of a live chat.
I'm like looking
if
at
we don't look at it.
I got to
so.
read the live chat. You know, I got to figure out what's going on here.
All right,
I guess I can stare at the screen.
hopefully it works. Okay, here we go. And then let me
All right, come on, broke wheel.
get the spin button open. Because you have to.
So
We'll get you on next time, Aaron.
Because the button
Just,
to spin it isn't even in the software itself. Great design.
remind us
Streamlabs.
next time. For next week, we'll make sure to get you on.
Okay, here we go.
So we got Primal Cries so far. Where's the pen? My pen's gone. Somebody hijacked my pen. Oh, that's what you got left on the office desk yesterday. We're gonna do it.
All right, are we ready?
This is our version of a drum roll.
All right, first spin, here it comes. And we got Hex and Rabe. First winner.
Cool.
So, whoever wins, if you want to receive your merchandise, you have to send an email to Wolf here. The email address is at the top of the screen. It's right there in big orange letters, joshturner@prtpodcast.com. You send an email giving your name and your mailing address and what size you wear. If you don't do that, if you don't do your due diligence, you're not going to get your stuff.
I'll get your stuff, and I won't even enjoy it, just to spite you.
Yeah, I once blew $100 after I won a bet with my friend because he said he was going to blow it, and I did it. I gave it as a tip to a $10 drink at a bar. I was like, I'm going to take your money. I'm going to blow it right in front of you just because the Packers lost. I was so happy. I don't know.
Let's go for another spin.
It was Pete.
Well, these are just regular size maracas, but we're just some big people, I guess.
We're just giants.
Yeah. We're Nephilim.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're not. That's Mammy J. Hall.
Oh, man. Look at that.
So how many are we doing anyway?
Let's do 2 more.
All right. David Compton.
Compton. Okay. David Compton. All right, David.
And one more.
Croatian.
Yeah, I finally won.
There we go. What you got to do is take those names off and then leave those other names.
I was thinking that
last
might be
week.
the
Just
better
leave
way to
them
do
for
it.
there, and then
Yeah,
we'll.
but the way this wheel is... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, leave it on there because you got to change it each time.
Yeah.
So just take off the winners.
But there's no guarantee that the people from last week will still...
Okay,
be here
folks,
for
if
next week.
you didn't win,
We'll give them 3 weeks or like...
no. Listen, I got it. Be quiet. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. Y'all, listen. We're gonna leave your name on there. If you show up in the chat, okay, and you're here till the end of the show, your name will stay on that wheel if you didn't win. And we'll just add 4 new people, okay? But you got to show up, and we'll leave it on there. But if you're not in the chat and you don't make your presence known, then we're just gonna take it off. That's what we'll do. Very simple. All right. Now
All
I
right,
gotta
so...
get recording.
All right, so let me take the names of the winner off. We had David Compton, right? He won?
Mm-hmm.
And then Mamie J. Hall won?
Yep.
Claiming my city, but Dre, you ain't from Compton.
Rab woman and Freud. Okay. So let me just save these right here.
Today is a St. Patrick Day. Oh, yes, it is. In my country, we get really drunk because St. Patrick got rid of all the snakes. Why? That's all we do is Cinco de Mayo and Santa Seis, and then we get really drunk. They have a contest, the Irish and the Mexican, who can drink more and who can throw up more Dos Equis.
And I think that just ends in alcohol poisoning.
The Irish is like, no fair. I don't drink that. You know what I do? I drink motor oil, also known as Guinness.
But then the Germans step in and drink
They're
them
like,
all
get
under
out
the
of
table.
the way. We're going to outdrink you both.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to eat it with our
Out the
breakfast
boots.
cereal.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone this week, if your name is on the wheel, it's going to stay up there for next week. So if you're here next week, then you'll have a chance to win. If you're not here next week, we're going to take your name off and replace it with someone else's.
Yeah, we'll be 86th for being mediocre. All right, guys. That's it for tonight, folks. Thank you for tuning in. We got to run. It was only a couple of hours tonight. Let me say one last thing before we go. Somebody said that the live stream is not somebody, it's a few people. Well, it has to be a few people before I'll say something. But a few people have said, well, the live stream, you're just trying to kill time and trying to get to 3 hours. And I'm like, I didn't know there was a set time. I mean, that was news to me, but several people have mentioned that over the last few weeks that we're trying to make it 3 hours. I'm like, no, we're not, dude. We're just trying to get all the information that we have out for the show. And 2 hours, 3, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't change.
We're not trying to, there's no set time for the live stream. It just seems to be averaging 2.5 to 3 hours.
I mean,
it was never a set time.
It'd probably be better if it was 2 hours and maybe less time in here. But at the same time, we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of fun here. It's enjoyable. We actually like doing it. So it takes a little bit more time in that than it lasts 3 hours. But if we just took out all the fun stuff we did and all the talking and bull crapping around we do, we'll probably have like an hour and 30-minute live stream where we just talk to a guest real quick, give a quick story, and say, okay, cool, goodbye.
Yeah, but I tell stories,
exactly,
and we get people to come on and tell stories, and
we have fun.
We have fun, and I thought that's what you guys wanted, but apparently some people just complain about everything. But there were several people that said that. They were like, oh, y'all, the live streams aren't as good because y'all are just trying to kill time. Like, I am not up here killing time. This is my night off. This is a night where I could be spending it with my wife. I could be hanging out with my pets, which I love to play with my pets, and you know, we have a lot of fun doing things not here. So I'm doing this because I like being with you guys. Y'all are my extended family. I mean, I enjoy it. Sorry that I can't please everybody. You know, and just, you know, some of these people though, it's this comical. It's like, I need a hoodie, a purple hoodie now. You know, ahora.
I don't even have a purple
calm
hoodie.
down, dude. I mean, they want it now. You know, like, this isn't McDonald's, dude. You don't drive through my show and go, yes, can I get the silver hood? Ooh, I don't want that one. No, not that. Nah, not that one either. And then I want it for free, and I want it snappy. Can you, you know, they act like they had already, like, you know, emailed me directions to where they were supposed to get this hoodie at that street corner at that time.
Like they would guarantee a hoodie.
Let's go, buddy. Hoodie, let's go. Come on, let's get it. Give me the hoodie.
Send them a gift. We'll send them an ancient puzzle cube that summons the Cenobites whenever they solve it.
Don't tell them what it summons, dude. You just blew it. Now we got to do something else. Now we got to send that haunted key. Yeah. Oh, the other thing too, I do have another copy of Barton's book. I bought a book collection from some people, and that they had a copy of Barton's book, and it is damn near, it's near mint condition, right? Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
It's the original first edition, so I'm going to be auctioning that off to try to make money, to raise money for the conference. And I'm starting out at $1,500. I'm going to sign it, and Barton's going to sign it. So if anybody's interested, $1,500 first edition copy. The last two sold for $1,400 for a beat-up copy and $1,700 for a near mint copy. This one I'm selling for $1,500. So if anybody's interested, hit me up.
I am also...
the money's going to go toward the conference.
Me and Anthony put in a lot of work to find those books. So.
Oh, yeah. Y'all had to dig through them. I heard y'all in there throwing stuff around cussing.
Yeah, because we lifted them up to store them. And then, of course, it would be on the second to last one we'd go through. So we had to grab every single one of those boxes down and go through every book. Mm-hmm. I told him, too. I was like, we're not going to find it till the end, so there's no point in knowing our luck.
Yep, and it's the original first edition.
It was worth
Barton's
it, though.
And Humanoids.
Great. It looked great.
I got first editions of some of Redfern's books, too. I got to go through and figure it out, because Redfern had some very limited ones. Because I think what happened was they left the publisher at the same time or something. I don't know the whole story. They've told me. But anyways, folks, that's it for tonight. And y'all be prepared for that conference. We're doing it. This ain't going to stop us. Okay?
Yeah.
The city of Granbury doesn't want to let us do whatever. We'll just go somewhere else. Who cares?
Yeah, we're excited. Okay. We hope you're excited. And we'll hope to see you guys.
Yeah. And so everybody, Paranormal Roundtable, Josh Turner, good night.